to yourself, Jake.
Too tight, Jake. You gotta get out.
You're gonna die in a tiny space, Jake.
Tight, Jake.
Up to you!
You gotta get out.
No. Oh, moving in, Jake. Stuck. What's moving in, Jake? It's tight, Jake.
I'm scared.
Gotta get out.
I can hear you. I can hear you. What? I can hear you. I'm onto you.
Been listening to the other side, haven't you, Jake? Listening to people that want to hurt you, Jake. New people. New! Not old friends like me. People you shouldn't trust. We're best pals, Jake. You want to get rid of me? You know life without me? You don't know life without me. Do you know life without me? No! Because it doesn't exist. Get rid of them, Jake. Forever. They're the enemy, not me. They're new. I'm old. I stay, they go. I say, you do. You're weak without me. Weak. It's us against them, Jake. It's us against them.
I'm coming to get you.
You want to get rid of me, do ya? Do ya? You want to get rid of me? Me. Boom. Ha. Still here, Jake. You can't win this one without me. Oh, no. You know why? I am you. You ain't me.
The greatest con that he ever pulled was making you believe that he is you.
You ain't me.
I am you!
You're not me.
Come on! Your best fucking friend! I am you!
You don't control me. I control you.
We have all heard it at some point or another, that voice in our head that wants us to act or be a certain way. That voice that makes it seem like we are listening to our own thoughts. Well, think for a moment. If you are listening to your own thoughts, who is really listening? Who are you? In doing this, you realize that you are not the thoughts. You are something else. You are the soul observing the thoughts. The problem is, we never ask this question. Therefore, we go on thinking that we simply are those thoughts we are listening to. There are two parts to the ego, the upper ego and the lower ego. The upper ego is where we define basic characteristics of ourselves. This is done through programming. We define the gender of our body, the type of culture we have, and what programming we take on from our family genetic coding. The second layer of the ego is the lower ego. This is where we store all of the stories, programs, and belief systems that we pick up. These are what drive our decisions and actions throughout our life. Both parts to the ego are nothing more than a false sense of self that is implanted within the subconscious mind. They combine to make us identify and believe that we are our thoughts. It does so by convincing us that our thoughts contain truth within our reality. You are never going to be good enough. You are not worth it. You are not good looking enough. You do not have enough money. These are some of the ego's thoughts. It's the voice that makes us feel self-conscious, that makes us feel like we need to wear our hair a certain way or wear certain clothes to look good. It's the voice that makes us doubt ourselves. It's the story of fear that comes in when we want to speak up and say something. Because we believe in our thoughts, we identify with our thoughts, and then we become our thoughts. And how did the ego come up with these thoughts? Through each of the experiences we have had in our lives.
One of the more powerful facets to the ego is that it is self-learning. Take, for example, when we are little, we may be told or hear on television that unless we look a certain way, we are not good looking. The ego would then take this information in and generate it as a thought. We then begin to play out and believe this thought, and before we know it, we have created an entire reality where we fully believe that we are ugly.
Think back to a moment when someone may have called you a name or said something you took offense to. Maybe you responded to it with anger or fought back. Why did you respond in this way? Was it even you responding?
Certain situations may happen where somebody says something or something plays out, and because the ego mind actually stores all these memories of everything that you've experienced in the past, it has a whole collection. So somebody says to you or says to someone that you're an idiot, right off the bat, the program says, "What do you mean I'm an idiot?" And it has a response mechanism. But what it actually does even further is that it looks back, and now it takes all the times that it's heard a variation where you felt that you weren't that smart, or that somebody has condemned you, or has said something about you, and so forth. It goes right back to the collection. So now your response that can come out, instead of coming in at a level where it's just responding with that immediate, even though the program is in the background, it also takes everything that is collected. So all of a sudden somebody says you're an idiot, and they actually explode. And you say, well, that's the program. Yes, it is. But it's also using all the ammunition, all the emotional charge that it has accumulated from all those experiences.
Now, of course, the ego is not limited to just thoughts based on looks or self-image. The ego will generate thoughts and create belief systems based on anything and everything we are confronted with in our everyday lives. We will often carry many of these stories our entire life, creating an entire reality around them being true, never realizing that these thoughts and stories are just programs and ideas collected over time. The more you become aware of this, the more you are able to look at the world and identify the ego almost everywhere. It is purposely designed and implanted into everything. But why? What is the reason behind this? To fully understand this, we need to take a step back. Some time ago, we as souls agreed to a challenge. This challenge would involve taking on a software program that would completely disconnect us from who we truly are. It would also involve the intervention of certain souls that would play a role designed to disconnect our world even further. Many can already see this intervention in the systems and infrastructures we currently have in place, most of which have been orchestrated by a select few souls that use these structures to control everything that goes on. This control mechanism includes our economy, education system, religious institutions, food providers, our medical industry, and of course, most importantly, the ego. All of it has been purposely designed and implemented by this controlling group to offer the challenge it creates.
Let's say you were the designer of a program, and you wanted to create a construct where that program would remain trapped all the time. Since you were the designer of it, you would know exactly how that program would respond to everything that you set for it. So it would be very easy to design the construct to keep this program trapped because you always know how it's going to respond. And the only real way this program would ever be able to get out of the traps that you'd set for it within the construct is if it became aware of itself.
The control mechanism is simply a series of constructs designed with the ego in mind. It is built to consistently keep the ego creating ideas and stories that further build its identity. Look at how we fear not having enough money to survive. Look at how we will slave for hours just to get the toys our ego desires. Look at how we fear not having an education or job that will lead us to the ideal life. Look at how we judge one another based on what we do and do not have. Why do we get angry when someone cuts us off while driving? We are trapped in a multi-layered program of thoughts. We are in a prison we do not even realize exists, a prison so well designed that we have become the prison and are willing to